Hi. What have I got here? Well, I've got a pair of trousers with a big hole in them. I went out taking some photos today, some filming, and I bent over, big hole. Now, that's not the issue. The issue is that I can't find my sewing kit. I think it's somewhere on this boat. I don't know where it is. I've looked for ages, and I'm gonna have to go into town in a bit and get some sewing kit. And I know, sure as eggs is eggs, that as soon as I buy that sewing kit, I'll find it. I'll find the one that's on this boat. I know I will. And it kills me. So I'm just going to do a bit more sewing. Anyway, enough of that. I'm here to answer some questions. So let's open the old computer and let's get some questions up and running. Now, thanks for all the questions. I have to admit, I didn't expect to get a lot, to be fair. I thought I might be Billy No Mates and not have many at all. But actually, boom, I got quite a lot. Firstly, though, thanks very much for your great tips on how to save water. It's nice to know that there's more fanatical people on the waterways than me. So I've got a lot to learn to be a bit more fanatical about various things. So must do better. So various tips. So measuring water to boil enough for your tea. Well, because that saves gas more than it does water, because I'll still use that water up. But what I have done is I'll boil a little bit more water than what I need for my cup, and if I need a wash, then pour it in the sink, because then it's hot water, just had a bit of cold, job done. So it saves all. I'm getting better, I'm thinking brighter, I'm thinking wider. Those roller thingies that you put water in, 25 litres I think they are, I'm gonna seriously consider getting some of those, because they're just great water filler uppers. I took the kids out over the weekend for their introduction to the boat. I think by and large they enjoyed it. I had a bit of telly on for them, watching a bit of Netflix, and they sat down on the sofa and they watched some telly. And after they finished fighting, they kind of messing about and all that sort of stuff, and they settled in. And so that's the first introduction. I hope one of many. So love to you all, Leo, Max and Lexi, as they are same age. And also my older children. I know I said I don't want any questions, but you know, I'll give my love and regards to my older children who are 29, 31, probably looking after me very shortly. Okay, so let's start from the top. No order as such, but as I wrote them down. So Q&A part 1. Let's see how long this goes on for. Part 1. Am I happy to live on a narrowboat or a house? Jeffrey asked this. An interesting question, because actually I can live on both. Which one do I prefer? They both have their nuances. With a house, you kind of need, there's an expectation of doing stuff, so you probably need a car to go and visit places and to do stuff and go to the cinema and all that sort of stuff. And I don't need that on a boat, because every day's a holiday. And if you haven't got a car, because I haven't got a car, another question, don't worry about it. However, the house does provide power when you need it, and I know we've all got to button our, tighten our belts a little bit, because electricity and gas is becoming more expensive. So people are mindful about how much electricity they use in the house, but the fact is I am constantly looking at my electric cupboard to see how much power I've got, and the sun's out today and it's given me quite a lot of power, which is quite nice. Freebies. You don't have that necessarily in a house, and but you have got the ability of just turning it on and not having to worry about it too much, other than the cost every quarter, month, however you pay. So there's benefits of the house, there's benefits of a boat. I had a mate who came on the boat just to have a chat, who lives local to where I'm moored at the moment, and he was discussing that the benefits of the green life, i.e. living out in the country, and now there's welfare benefits and well-being benefits of the blue life, like living on the water. I'm too young, too naive to understand what those benefits are yet, but you know, it's nice. So Jeffrey, to answer your question, I'm happy to live on both. This is my home, happy to live on it. It comes with some issues, but generally speaking, content. Ian Webb, his wife asks, why a canal boat? What made me say yes to a canal boat? Well, I did a through life cost analysis of a house, tent, van life, camper van life, boat. Dismissed tent quite quickly. Now, a house, to be honest, the cost of this, I could have bought a house, but where would that house have been? Nowhere near my support network, and it wouldn't have the capability of looking after all 3 children. Now, arguably it would have done, because this is a smaller square footage space than a house, but this has added benefits. So whilst I've discussed house versus boat, previous question, van life too small for kids, camper van life great for holidays, but I kind of think you need to park it somewhere, and if you need to park it in a camping site or something like that, that incurs costs. Caravan, I didn't mention that earlier on, caravan and car, over 30 years you'll probably need to change your car twice, and you might change your caravan twice or more. Those costs will add up, and they almost, when I did my cost analysis, it's not far off the cost of this boat. And then you've got camping fees and all of that stuff. There's lots of hidden agendas with campsites. You can't stay in them as a live-in for more than 28 days. You've got to move. Lots of little things, which then became a pain. You still got a service car, still got to put fuel in it, still got to travel around in it and all that, and that's where all the costs came in. Boat, probably upfront costs, other than the house, the most expensive, but through life costs quite cheap, which is why I opted for boat. What dreams have been met, and what are the downsides? That question will be answered throughout the rest of these questions, but dreams, I didn't really have any. No expectations really. Downsides, still too early to say. Martin with a Y. I take it your life in the services was very regimented and structured. Things had to be just so all the time. Now you're living on a narrowboat. Are you strict about keeping everything just so? Or do you sometimes think to yourself, nah, not today, I'll leave it, it'll do, I'll do it tomorrow, day after, next week, next month, next year, whatever? Okay, great question, Martin. And here's the example. My brasses, they are a pain, without a shadow of doubt. But if you don't do them on a regular basis and they become really manky, when you have to do them, it takes too much time, and then they become too difficult to do, and the psychology behind that, well, you just might as well paint them. So I do my brasses once a week. Now this is where Pareto's law 80-20 comes in. I worked out relatively quickly, they don't have to be to a, I don't know, 100% cleanliness. I can get 80% cleanliness effect of the clean mushroom vents and all the brasses with 20% of the effort by just giving them a clean. That's it. It would take me another 80% of time and effort cleaning to get them up to 100% value of they are gleaming, and no one on the towpath will notice it. I probably wouldn't even notice it. It becomes a bit of a pain, therefore won't do it. So Pareto's 80-20, I get up there, it takes me about an hour to do the brasses. I do it almost religiously, but I do it every week, because if I don't, then you're on that slippery slope downwards. Servicing the engine needs to be done on time, and generally speaking, at times it's a bit messy in here, but you know, and I once a day tidy up. Keys, always losing them if I don't put them on the hangers. Glasses, I need another pair of glasses to find my glasses. You know, things like that. And generally speaking, okay. Margaret asks, why do you choose a rudder thingy stick as opposed to a steering wheel, a wheelie type thing? What's the difference? Margaret, I love the fact you're using my language in your question. Great. The rudder thingy sticky thing at the back, the tiller, it's cheap. Do that. Whereas if you have a steering wheel, there's some mechanical things to make all that work, and that costs money. Now there are some people on a wide beam. Wide beams have steering wheels. Generally speaking, narrow boats have tillers because they're cheaper and it's simple, and it's a simple way of life. Mind you, I was travelling down here on my way down from Nottingham, and I thought, what's that boat over there? Where's the bloke at the back? Where is he doing? He's only at the front steering. Windscreen, you know, a crash cover, steering wheel. How good was that? Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Steering wheel at the front. I don't know how he reverses or all that sort of stuff. You know, he's got wing mirrors and stuff like that. Oh, I don't know how that happens. Maybe he's got a tiller at the back. I don't know. But I thought that was great. Brilliant. The Lefty Boater asks, services, how many have you come across that have showers? Lefty Boater, not many. Generally speaking, in basins, I saw one at Loughborough Basin. I saw one at One Dip, whatever it's called, Wan. Anyway, just past there. King's Lock, just outside, north of Leicester. Saw one there, which is at the Navigation Inn. And beyond that, I haven't seen many, but then I haven't been looking for them. Alan B and Christine want to know, I'm still waiting to hear what your part of the story, the conversation with Her Majesty the Queen. Alan and Christine, wait a little bit longer at the end of this because it takes a bit of time. Lots of context needs to happen to that. Lim says, could you talk about boat security? Obviously divulge what is comfortable, but how do you keep your stuff safe when you're off the boat? Do you storage valuables have a problem so far? Okay. There's a lady who's had a boat broken into. I don't think she said anything was stolen, but they're a very sad state of affairs. And I think after that you can have, there's the tangible effects and non-tangible effects of boat security. Tangible effects is, you know, cameras and all that sort of stuff, and whether outside or inside, lights and all that kind of stuff. Non-tangible effects is on the cheap. And when I moor up, I watch for the pattern of life. Not necessarily on the canals, because I think generally speaking people on the canals are okay. It's the people on the towpath. Now if you get the grey pound walking on the towpath, not an issue. Families walking down the towpath, not an issue. Cyclists screaming down the towpath as they do, Not an issue with safety, but it's an issue with the amount of speed that goes down the towpath. Generally speaking, people that use the towpath is what I look for. Miscreants. We all know what we're talking about here, don't we? Miscreants. People who are idle in their minds and think, oh. Now, those, if I get too many of them, I think generally speaking, I observe the towpath, and if I see too many miscreants, I move on. I also choose where I moor. I don't moor near bridges. I don't moor near park benches. I don't moor near parks. Anywhere where you have a build-up of miscreants doing miscreant things. I think overnight you're okay, but if you stay there more over you know, people generally do a recce, and if the boat's, that boat hasn't moved for a bit, let's have a look. Yeah, it's those sort of things. What I forgot to nick, well, everything's nailed down really. They can nick me crockery, they can nick my clothes. Okay, you can smash a telly up, but there's not much to nick, to be honest. Have you had to radically change your buying habits? Same question from Lim. Since being on the boat? No, because I went in lockdown 6 years before I bought the boat, and I sacrificed living for 6 years, other than when I saw the kids and servicing the car, sacrificed living in order to live on this boat. Therefore, I've still got storage space in here. Martin Ruby asks, what if anything has come as the biggest surprise, or not, what you're expecting since you started on the canal? Nothing. Short answer, really. Yes, I've said in a vlog earlier on a Sandbag that I had the feeling of loneliness, but I kind of got over that relatively quickly. I'll answer the question fully from somebody else. And what, if anything, has turned out exactly as you expected? Pretty much everything. If you're advising anyone thinking of building a boat, is there anything that would fit into the categories of, oh, don't make that mistake again, or I'd wish I'd known that? Okay. No. Things I like about this boat though, deep sink. I said to Mark, I want a deep sink. I don't want some shallow mincy sink that you can't use, wash up, can't do anything in. So deep sink. It's been great. You don't have to fill it up. I only fill it up with the smallest amount of water, but it does mean if you're scrubbing stuff or washing stuff up, it doesn't splash up all over the place, and it's a good idea. Same in the sink in the bathroom. A deep sink, don't use it all, you know, just a small amount of water at the bottom, which is fine. I think that's one of the best things I've done. There's a lady called Jill, braid bar boat. I think her design is very good, and it's not only the design of the boat, it's where the clarifier, the hot water tank is. She's got the kitchen in the middle, and next to the kitchen is the bathroom. So the clarifier, either side of where you need hot water, the clarifier is pretty much in the centre. So where her boat is designed, turn the tap on, you've pretty much got instant hot water. Great design, great thought. However, when I'm steering at the back, I wanted the galley here, because the flow of the boat is nice. So one of the compromises of that, it takes a bit of time to get the hot water in the shower, but we're solving that issue. Is there anything of significance you'll do differently if you are starting from scratch again? No. Donkin Safety asks, fitness, health and mental well-being are extremely important. What is your approach to keeping them in balance? When I use my belt, in fact this morning, I've noticed I'm on the 5th hole now. When I was on the boat, I was on the 3rd hole. So I've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, it's the last hole as well. I've lost that much of width around my midriff in 5 weeks. What's that down to? Better eating, better portion size, more exercise. I can now, I'm now bombing around like a 45-year-old. I can now stretch into places that I couldn't stretch into. I can move, my agility is better. And because I've lost a bit of weight, I have invested in another pair of trainers from Skechers, as it happens, because they have that arch, which helps with plantar fasciitis. If you don't know what plantar fasciitis is, it's like having pins being shoved up in the arch of your and the heel of your sole of your foot. Painful. So might start running, and I'm also going to do some exercising stuff. I'm trying to get hold of some bands that you can do exercises with. Anyway, I can't remember what they're called. TRX bands, I think they're called. But I'm trying to get hold of some of those. If not, I'll have to buy some, and I'm going to do some exercises there. Bike, you'll realise that when I go on a bike, I tend to leak after going on a bike. And generally speaking, fitness, I'm now at a level where I can start to improve because I've lost my initial weight and then pressure on your knees and your hips and all that sort of stuff. Mental well-being. I think that's important, but I think, how do I say this without being cancelled? I think mental well-being is now more of an issue because it's got a label. I think back in the day, if you were feeling a little bit annoyed or blue, as it used to be called, a little bit down in the dumps, people used to take, yeah, come on, let's go out for beer. But I think the secret to all this mental well-being is recognising it. And when I had that feeling of loneliness, fact is I recognised it early on, and I said to myself, right, get a grip, what do you like doing, put some music on, and I danced about and I sang a song, and I was doing my brasses, singing some whatever I was singing it to, and generally speaking, you know, put myself up. And I think it's quite easy, whether you're in a home, a boat or otherwise, if you're living on your own, to become a feeling of loneliness that then becomes loneliness because you don't want to go out, and you lose that confidence, and they have the anxiety and all that sort of stuff. Human beings need interaction. Not so long ago, it was 20 odd 30 years ago perhaps, when the Romanian child thing, now even though there was kids all over the place in a chair or a cot bed, many of them died, and a lot of them died because they weren't loved. Children need to be loved. Human beings need to be loved. They need to be interacted with. And you know, it's such a sad event when you've got kids in cots and they just died of a broken heart. And I think that's very sad. You know, you've got mums who might have postnatal depression, and you know, a baby likes to be loved. You know, you go Gucci Gucci Goo and make the baby smile, and they see me now, don't, and the baby laughs, and it's looking for that interaction and your smile on your face and your eyes. And even though a baby's just been born, it still has that innate value of understanding what love is. And if you don't get it, you know, mums with postnatal depression that don't like the baby, the baby recognises that and chooses to look away. You know, those are psychology things that I've learned, and I get it. We need human interaction. I think dealing with loneliness is one of those things that you need to identify the signs and symptoms of it, and increase your mental well-being by getting that human interaction or doing something you like. And so far, the tube is something I like doing. Talking to you lot. My lad said to me, you need to be careful that you're not just getting your interaction through the internet. Yeah, fair point. And I have had friends on the boat just recently. I've seen the kids. I've been to the pub and had a couple of beers with my mate. But generally speaking, I get it, and that's how I'm dealing with mental well-being. Recognising it. Long answer, but I think it's quite important. Nick asks, Have you been on, now that you've been on the boat a while, Chris, do you find it dark with portholes? No. Robert asks, what are the pros and cons of your previous military service in your new way of life? How do you compare to the average boater you come across? Pros and cons. Ooh. I've had to think about that one, because I don't think I need lights on a boat. Not as many lights as there is in here. I mean, when I don't generally have the lights on, I walk around in the dark, or I go to bed when it's dark. In the winter time, it's dark at 4 o'clock. I still won't be going to bed then. But you don't need light. I don't think we need as much light as we think we need. And I have been living on here with those lights that turn on and off all the time. You know, I haven't got one here really to show you. But they come on when you move, movement things. It's nice to have the mood lighting on occasionally, and I do have it on occasionally, but there's no need for it. So I'm used to adapting. I've done so many different postings and so many different things, and I've learned how to communicate with people on a, you know, as you see them on the towpath, for example, you meet new people and just create conversation. So I think the robustness, the ability to adapt to different situations, the military has given me that. How do you compare the average boater to the you come across? I don't really. They are who they are. You know, I don't have any preconceived ideas or anything like that. It is what it is. Carl says, how is the separating toilet going and the composting of the waste? With all the CRT, L sands and pumps out of action due. And there was something on the website this morning about vandalism of L-sand points, and people complaining about pump outs not working. I made the right choice with the separating. How's it going? Brilliant. I do my business, and now I've got one of them buckets that has got a spinny thing on the inside, and when I empty the bucket and put it in the green bin, I put my rubber gloves on and I absolutely get in there and clean off all the dirt that's on the inside of that bin, and that nut at the bottom, that gets a proper clean as well. Everything on, you can almost eat out of it. Clearly you wouldn't, but you get my point. That's how clean it is. And then it all goes in. I put the put cat litter that then turns into sawdust, and then it works. And hygiene, I think, in the toilet area is hugely important. So actually, the bin that I have filled up in 5 weeks, is the bottom of it is composted. Actually, you just have to turn it over and add leaves and a bit of greenery and all that sort of stuff. And the compost, the bin needs to be aired. It needs to be heated up. It needs to be damp and moist. It needs to be added to every so often to keep the heat going, but it's kind of working, to be fair. I think I've waffled on a lot for the last 30 minutes, or just about 30 minutes, and I think personally I could answer short closed answers, yes, no, or very short succinct answers. But sometimes I think, risk to me at times, that a fuller answer gives you a better impression as to what I think. If you'd rather a shorter, succinct answer, let me know, comment below. Any more questions, comment below. If you liked it, comment below. And there's enough information, or there's enough questions, at least another one. So Q&A part 2 next week. This week's Sandbag Sunday, no, this week's vlog is going out on a Tuesday, but I kind of think thereafter it needs to go out on a Wednesday. I think Sunday to Tuesday, too short a gap. I think by an extra day, we're kind of, it might be better. So this week Tuesday, next week Wednesday for the normal vlogs. Sandbag Sunday is next week. So thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and next week part 2. See you a bit.